Is this the worst season to be an NBA free agent in NBA history? This is episode 20. Wow, 20 of the Royal City Hoops podcast. I'm Bill, and we have lots to talk about when it comes to the NBA in terms of free agency. We're still waiting for everything to kick in. So let's talk about how much it sucks to be a free agent coming up in 2020. We're going to go through CBS's list of top 30 free agents. We're going to have sort of 3, maybe 4 groups. So you're going to have everybody with a player option. And then we're going to have restricted free agents, unrestricted free agents. Now, given the climate we're in right now, that we have the coronavirus going on and that we're going to have a shortened season, we don't know what next season is going to bring. I think that's going to play a big impact on NBA free agency in the coming year. I think players that have a player option, everybody's going to be picking that up. We already saw Andre Drummond pick up his player option, so we'll go through a bunch of the guys with player options. I think the only one reasonably that you could say isn't going to exercise or might exercise his player option would be Anthony Davis, because it's guaranteed the Lakers are going to throw a ton of money at him. It doesn't really matter. They could reweight the contract so he makes more later and makes the same as his opt-in year this year. Whatever, they can make that work. He might be one of the only candidates. There might be 1 or 2 more that may decline their player option, but by and large, I think everybody with a player option is going to take it. Unrestricted free agents, I'm a little curious to see how they're going to play this. Are they going to do a 2-year deals a la LeBron, first year guaranteed, second year player option, and that way when the cap goes up, because I think everybody firmly believes that the cap is going to go down this year. I think when we look at that, we might see a lot of 2-year deals, 1 guaranteed player option. Restricted free agents, I don't know. That's a big question mark with regards to who's, if you're a big name, are you going to get the money you think you're going to get? Are teams not going to offer it? Are they going to offer you something else? Are they not offering you full max deals? Are they offering you 2-year max deals? What's going to happen? I don't think either side has a lot of leverage here. The players need to play to make money. The owners need the players to play to make money. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of contractual issues. I think this was illuminated in the Low Post podcast that just came out with Zach Lowe when he and Kevin Arnovitz did their defensive players of the year, all defensive teams and defensive player of the year, etc. But I think definitely a unique situation with the coronavirus and everything that's going on. So let's get into CBS's list. Now, number 1, we might not go through everybody, or we might really gloss over some of these players. Number 1, Anthony Davis. He's got a player option. He's going to get a max deal in some shape or form, if not this year. If he opts into his player option the year after, the Lakers are going to throw it at him. That's essential no-brainer, and I would expect that the Lakers are going to retain him. I don't see there being a reason for him to leave unless LeBron, wrecks his ACL. And even then, he's a star in the Lakers mold. Brandon Ingram's number 2. He's a restricted free agent. What's going to happen with him? I think the Pelicans will do everything they can to keep him. What kind of offers will get thrown at him? I don't know. We don't know what other teams are going to do. I think the Pelicans are certainly going to try and keep him. DeMar DeRozan, I think he was taking his player option no matter what. Unless somebody was going to offer him a really sweet deal or lobby him for that. But I think it's north of $20 million. He's not getting that from somebody else, even on a longer deal. I think he stays with the Spurs, exercises his player option, plays it out. Gordon Hayward was a candidate. He's number 4 on the list. I think Gordon Hayward was a candidate to decline his player option and negotiate a new contract. He was having a great season. However, coronavirus coming along. Let's just say yes and move on. Now it gets interesting. Number 5, unrestricted Danilo Gallinari. I personally really like Gallo as an NBA player. Stretch 4 shooter. He's got more to his game than just the catch and shoot. His rebounding is decent. He's a smart player while he is not super athletic, but at 6'10 and you roll him out at the stretch four, he's a guy who makes your team better with how he plays. You're better with him on the floor typically than not. He would have attracted a lot of interest. I would really like him with Chris Paul and that crew in OKC. OKC is one of my little darling teams, surprise teams. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is my favorite Canadian player. So I would like him to stay there. I like how they play. They're fun. But again, it's a business. You got to go where the money is sometimes. Short careers, etc. But I expect him. I mean, he was getting $20 million, I think, on his deal. I would expect of him. I would have expected him. Sorry, English, only my first language. To get a deal, in the 15, 18 million a year range, short term. I don't think that's going to be available. We'll see what happens. Number 6, really interesting. Homer talk here. Freddie Van Vliet, Steady Freddie. Love him. He's a killer. Loves the end game. No moment's too big. He closes things out for the Raptors. I think somebody's going to lob a lot of money at him. He was on a pretty good deal for the Raptors, given how he played at $8 million a year for 3 years, and that deal's coming up. There's talk he's going to get a deal in the $20 million range. Who's going to give it to him? I don't know. The Raptors have a lot of cap space. They may be in the zone for that. I hope so. I'd love to keep him. Being Canadian, being a Raptors fan, really want to keep him. But rumor is Dwayne Casey really likes him a lot, and he's young, and the Pistons have a lot of cap space, so somebody's going to give him a lot of money. It's payday time for Freddie. Another guy I really like, but who's a restricted free agent, is Bogdan Bogdanovic or Boyan or whichever. There's 2 of them in the NBA. Their names are similar. For Sacramento, I'm really interested in this to see what Sacramento does. They have Buddy Hield. I like him better than Buddy Hield. You can never have too many shooters. He's kind of getting squished in this situation. I mean, I think he could command some big dollars. He's a guy that makes you better. He's young. He's under 30, and a lot of international experience. Really came out this summer and heading into the season. Really like him. He should have gotten a big payday. He might be somebody who takes a 1-and-1 or maybe short term or something that has a lot of player option renewals, so that he can bail and get a bigger contract if he outplays his current deal. And I think any team that's going to sign him is going to understand that and probably feel like they need to have the opportunity to re-sign him if he outplays it, that he's part of their long-term plans. I would like to see him out of Sacramento because I think Sacramento's a train wreck as an organization. But if they were to move Buddy Hield and offer him some of that cap space, or however they're going to arrange it, I think Sacramento would be moving in the right direction. I think Buddy Hield wouldn't have been somebody that I would have paid that big money to. I would have probably let him move on. Number 8 is unrestricted free agent Joe Harris. He's a shooter. There's a premium on shooting in the NBA. Somebody's going to pay him double-digit $1 million a year, even now. He's unrestricted. I think the Nets would like to keep him. He fits with, you need shooters around stars, but other teams need that too. Maybe in another episode we'll talk about where some of these guys could go. Bleacher Report, I think, just came out with a few articles on some of these guys, so maybe that's something we'll touch on. Or if you want to look it up, go ahead. Evan Fournier is number 9 for Orlando. He's an interesting one because he's a pretty good player. He's got a player option for $17 million, which I think he could have gotten elsewhere, won a long-term deal, so definitely win-win for him. But he's stuck in this coronavirus predicament. He is going to he's a great shooter. He's going to get offers. The $17 million is just it's kind of not enough for him, but too much. He's closer to 30. He's good, not great. He can make your team better. He can score you points, but I think he gets squished in this as well. Not enough. I think he's going to opt in, play out Orlando, and then hope that in 2021 things go back to normal and he can capitalize then and get one more big deal. Number 10. Wow, a lot of interesting guys here. Montrezl Harrell's an unrestricted free agent, and in any other year, some team is launching money at him to bring him on because he's super productive. You don't need to run a play for him. He's gotten better offensively. He's stellar defensively and rebounding. He allows your stars to be stars. So I don't know why you wouldn't want him on your team. But hey, we don't know where the salary cap's going to be. Maybe he decides that if I can't get a better run somewhere else, I'm going to sign a one-on-one deal in LA to stay with the Clippers and get a chance at another ring, because they got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on 2-year deals, and after this season they got one more, so they could run it back. If they don't win this year, have a chance at another chip. If they win, I think there's a good chance he re-signs for a one-on-one and gives the Clippers another run at a title, and maybe puts a little more hardware if the Clippers are going to be the team to win. The Lakers have some defections due to the bubble situation, losing Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard. That's going to severely impact their defense. Offensively, they can certainly replace those numbers. Rumor is they're going to sign J.R. Smith. They've got Dion Waiters. Both those guys can get buckets, but the question is, can they replace the defense? Up front, JaVale McGee's going to take a bigger load, and AD will play more minutes in the playoffs. So, at the center, So, sure, it would be great to have him because Howard was playing great and gives your lineup more versatility. And who knows, maybe he does change his mind and buys into what the NBA is trying to do for Black Lives Matter, but maybe he doesn't. So we'll go on the premise right now that he's gone. I'm just talking about it now. What if Montrezl Harrell decides, I want to stay in LA, just not with the Clippers, and he moves to the Lakers? Who knows? The Lakers sometimes in some eras can cast mystical smells and spells on people. Number 11, Marcus Morris. He's an interesting one. He's kind of getting towards the end. He can knock down threes. He's versatile, but we're getting into tough turf here. He's another Clipper. Maybe if they lose Harrell, they keep him. Who knows? Jeremy Grant. He's one where he would, in any other year, I think he'd decline his player option. It's $9.1 million, but what's going to be the market for him? Denver's out. He's a nice fit there. Maybe he wants to re-sign there. He shot 40% on threes. Good defensive player, great role player for you. Lets your stars be stars. But what's going to happen with him? What's going to happen with the NBA salary cap? Again, this is a question for a lot of the guys. The next two we're just going to go over quick. Andre Drummond, Otto Porter, both on crappy teams, both with huge player options. They are not waiving those. Andre Drummond's already said he's taking his. Otto Porter's going to sign his for sure. He's not opting out of that. He's going to take that money. Done. Number 15, Goran Dragic, unrestricted. I like him. He's linked to Dallas in the free agent market already. But he's 34. He's been around a long time. Great backup. In his role as a backup player, backup point guard, great. I love what he's doing with the Heat as a backup. Unbelievable. So we'll see what happens with him in free agency, because I think he'll draw a lot of interest, but not a lot of high dollar. So he'll be somebody who can cherry pick the right situation for going after a ring or playing time or whatever he wants. If the money's not there, you got to pick something, right? Another guy in the same category, Serge Ibaka, has really grown into modern-day center, three-point shooting range, still a rim protector, still a good rebounder. My own personal thing as a Raptors fan is I really hope they keep him at whatever price. If you're getting Marc Gasol off the books and his $23 million, I think they're taking like $60 or $80 million off the books this year. Let's throw some at him and Freddie and keep him on the team, which would be awesome going forward. A lot of continuity always helps. Hassan Whiteside, number 17. It's a contract year and he's playing well. I would not give him any money. I would stay away from his money. If he a sweetheart deal, mid-level exception, maybe at most. He gives you some rim protection and rim running and rebounding. Maybe he's a good fit in Portland. Apparently he's really good friends with CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard, and that's what brought him to Portland, and who knows, maybe he sticks. But he's somebody who I would not be investing a ton of money in. However, somebody I would be interested in having on my team is number 18, Paul Millsap. But aged, coming to the end of a $30 million deal. He's made his money. I think maybe it's time to go for a chip. In one post I've read about him maybe going to Miami because he fits that system. Hard worker and everything. But 35, how many years does he really have left as a contributor? He can make threes. He just solid role player. Number 19, unrestricted Derek Favors. Another role player who will find a home. There has been talk, though, or talk. I guess when you're reading something, it's not talk. But what I've read, there's interest in him going back to Utah, which, hey, good for you. Number 20, Boogie Cousins. What do you do with a guy who's super talented but has a ton of injuries in his past? And, you make the right bet. He could work out and change your franchise. I mean, sounds like something the Knicks would do, and that would blow up in their face, and this would end terribly. So, good God, I hope that is not what happens. I hope he gets it together because he's super, super talented and was fun to watch when he was healthy. 21, Davis Bertans. He's done something really interesting. He is not going to the bubble. Even though the Wizards are in, he's had 2 previous ACL tears. He's not going. He doesn't want to go. He's a free agent. There's a lot of money at stake. I think he probably would have, been able to get a contract of somewhere around $15 million a year for 3 years, maybe with a 4th-year option. Because shooting, I mean, he's an incredible three-point shooter. He had a massive run this season where he was just bombing away threes. I had him on my fantasy team, which, RIP, my fantasy team, I could have won 2 leagues, and I think I had him on both teams at one point. Just killer stats. Picked him up off the waiver wire. It was awesome. Number 22, Marc Gasol. He's got a massive deal coming off the books with the Raptors. KG vet. Like Millsap, he's 35, high basketball IQ, great defensively. Somebody's gonna bring him on, and he's in a position to pick where he goes because he's not going to get a huge deal. There'll be teams probably offering in and around the same amount. A lot of contenders fighting for him. He can also play a mentor role. He's going to have his pick of the litter. He's got a couple more years at him as a contributing player. 23, Tim Hardaway Jr., $17.7 million left, player option. If Dallas wants to keep him long term, maybe they say, hey, waive that option. Here's the deal we're offering you. Off you go. I think it's smart. You need shooters around Luka. He's played well there. It's a good fit. I wouldn't be mad at that move. 24, Jordan Clarkson. I think Jordan Clarkson's proved in every situation he's the same bench scorer, productive. But he's going to be in a boat with a lot of Joe Harris and those guys where the market for him, the contracts being offered given the salary cap and economic uncertainty in the NBA is going to be pretty low. So I look to him to get a 1-and-1. Dario Saric in Phoenix, 25. I like the homie Dario as a player. I'd like him to be on a team that he fits better with. Phoenix, to me, is always directionless. They've been terrible for years. There's a reason they're terrible. I would like to see him I'd like to see Devin Booker on a good team too. I like him a lot. Dario probably doesn't get a lot of offers here, and anything he does get, Phoenix would match just because he's a valuable asset, I think. So, bummer for him that it's not a great year. Jay Crowder is number 26. Glue guy, playing in Miami, definitely fits what they do there. Hard worker, makes threes, but he's your 8, 9, 10 guy. He's been around the leagues for a dog's age. Diminishing returns there, so he's not getting a big deal. Nobody's logging big money. He's probably looking at security to stay with a good organization, and I think maybe Miami's that place, hopefully for him. Tristan Thompson, one of my Canadian brethren. I don't know what this guy was thinking by not letting Cleveland trade him and exercising his bird rights and all that. Maybe it's because he's part of Clutch Sports that they can get him some type of crazy deal. But man, is he a starting center still in the NBA? I don't think so. He's a great rebounder, solid defensive rotation player. It just doesn't offer you a whole lot more. I mean, yeah, he's knocked down some threes and improved his shooting this year, but I just don't see it. I don't see him getting a big deal. I mean, if he gets $5 million a year for 4 years, to me, that's the best that's going to be out there. 28 is Kent Bazemore. I like Kent Bazemore as a glue guy. He's coming off $17.5 million this year. So if he gets, I think he's somewhere around, again, $5-6 million. But because he's such a revered role model, like role player, I think he can pick his spots. I would look for him to sign with a good team to be a contender. I mean, Dallas, he's a wing guy, plays D, makes threes. Dallas would be a really nice place for him, I think. But who knows? Jeff Teague. Well, okay, now we're getting to the dog days. But he's 29. Jeff Teague's been around a long time. He's a backup point guard right now, at best. He's going to have good nights. It's more about culture and what he's going to bring to your team. Can he mentor the young guys? Can he fill in for you as a starter during injury? How much left does he have in the tank? Because I find point guards at 30, 31, the wheels start to come off, even in this day of age where guys are playing longer and longer. But hey, who knows what he's going to do? Last but not least, or maybe least, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson got a big contract playing with the Pistons. That's coming to an end. He never really lived up to that. He never was the elite player they hoped him to be when they signed him or traded for him or however they got him from OKC. Him with the Clippers, dynamic role player as a backup point guard. I mean, their system, they're going to have Paul George and Kawhi handling the ball down the stretch. So he's a spot player who can give you something like he did in OKC when they had Westbrook and those guys. He's going to give you flashes, but don't be fooled. He's a backup. Great player. I mean, I'm not saying I could do better. It's impressive when you're in the NBA. But he's a bench player. He'll be a bench player for the rest of his career. Can he fill in as a starter on a good team with injuries? For sure. He can shoot it a little bit. He can do a little bit of everything, but there's just nothing he does really, really well. And even though you look at him play and you go, man, long arms, has moves, makes buckets, but it's just not consistent enough. So that's our 30 players, 30 free agents going into 2020. Giannis is not on this list. He's the biggest free agent coming up in 2021. And if I am Milwaukee, I am really, really afraid of what the Miami Heat have to offer him. But that's a different podcast for a different time. What do you think? Did I miss the mark here? Who's the best possible free agent? I'm not going to count Anthony Davis. The Lakers are going to scoop him up. On your list, who's the best one out there that you would want on your team on those guys? As always, like if you like, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe at your own risk. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.